All right. Let me see. Bear with me, folks. It is Christian Ballard of Ballard Sports Media coming at you with a live stream on a Monday afternoon. We are live on 3 platforms right now. It's acting up. Give me a second. StreamYard's acting weird today. I don't know. We're gonna keep it rolling though. College football talk and Q&A here on a Monday afternoon. It is almost 1:00. We're a few minutes away, Central Time, of course, and we wanna drop the link. I wanna get you guys on, kinda hang out with y'all, talk some college football, and really just talk about the season because it is a big year for college football. You know, we got the new video game coming out. We got, new conferences, teams in new conferences, at least new to them. That's huge. I think the biggest storyline of the offseason that happened to start the year, I mean, we kick things off, Nick Saban retires, right? But since then, so much has gone on in the recruiting and the portal and just all this other stuff. And then you get to July 1st, which we're not there yet. We're like a week away. Actually, yeah, we're a week away next Monday. Uh, so in 1 week, Texas and Oklahoma are joining the SEC. I'm excited for that. I really am. Let me see something here because we're live. Okay, there it goes. There we go. It's updating. I'm still getting used to going live on the Ballard Sports Instagram page. I figured I'd give it a shot today, this afternoon, and it seems like it's working okay. It just had to load up on my end. But you talk college football, definitely want to hear from you guys. I did drop the StreamYard link in case anyone wants to come on at any point. But I think for the team previews, I think I'm going to call it quits on the team previews. I love previewing the teams, but there's no way I'm going to get every single team like I wanted to. I think that ship has sailed. And I would hate to do certain teams and then not be able to do others. So I think we just need to talk college football going forward and we'll come up with some ideas. I want to get back to calling baseball games too, but it's halfway through baseball season and we don't really talk about it on here. 2025 though, we're going to try to hit the ground running with that. We are. We're going to do everything we can. What is it gonna look like on college football Saturdays? Well, I might have to work. We'll see. I might find time for noon games if I have to work nights. If I work mornings, I come home, maybe we'll do a night stream. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. I know I'm going to two games, but outside of that, it's possible I'll work every Saturday throughout the season, but you never know. Yeah, anything could happen between now and then, and, I haven't fully got my schedule straightened out with work as far as the fall outside of I know I'm gonna have class Monday and Wednesday mornings up until about 1 o'clock or so. But I'll be off those days because I got church at night too, so I might as well take those 2 days off, work weekends and other days in between, and then should be good to go. We're making money, right? So good to see in the comments, see Bama. Appreciate that. Uh, thank you for showing up, Roll Tide. He says. We got a few people watching on YouTube. We got a couple people watching on Facebook too. Let me make sure I shared this out. I always forget to share out some of the streams. But Oh, yeah, so now college football, it's almost here. Um, July 1st, Texas and Oklahoma will join the SEC. It will officially begin a new era. You'll have media days late July. I know they had spring meetings back in April, I believe, down in Destin, Florida. So that was good, I thought. Of course, Feinbaum talked to everybody. So, uh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at some of the news and football on social media. It's Dion opening up about Colorado. Is anyone really like I don't wanna be mean, but, like, I think we're over the whole Deion Sanders thing, right? I would think. I mean, he's an amazing human being, down to earth, Christian man. I'm sorry, though. He's not a head coach. I mean, he is, but he isn't. I don't I'm not gonna say he doesn't know football, and he did good at Jackson State, but he gets to Colorado, now he's going into the Big 12. What are you gonna do? We looked at their schedule early on, and, um, it, it's brutal. New conference for Colorado and Deion Sanders going to the Big 12. I think going forward, they get better. I don't know how long you give him, but when you look at their schedule, which we've already done a preview of, they open with North Dakota State. I'm gonna say that's a win, even though North Dakota State in the FCS, that's a really good team. That's a really good team in the FCS. Uh, that's what are they? North Dakota State. They're in the Missouri Valley Conference. So Colorado has to open up with them. I don't know if that's a guaranteed win. It could be, but it might not be. And North Dakota State has produced some great talent. They put Trey Lance in the NFL. Now, you say whatever you want to about Trey Lance, but when he was at North Dakota State, he was baller. He was really, really good. Then Colorado has to go to Nebraska and Lincoln. That's a key game. I like Nebraska to try to make a bowl game this year. Colorado upset. I'm calling it an upset if they do win. I think Nebraska will win that. Colorado State, night game, September 14th. Baylor is your homecoming game at UCF, Gus Malzahn. Kansas State, Arizona, Cincinnati, and you could go down the list. I think it gets tougher as the season goes on. Joey, what's up, man? Dion is joke for college football. Yeah, I'm waiting on the punchline though. I think they lose to North Dakota State, says Nick Saban Jr. Sports Talk TV. Yeah, they could. I don't, question is it embarrassing if they lose to North Dakota State? Because, like I said, really good team over there. But when you're Power Five, if you're losing to FCS, it's not a good look. It's just not. I think Colorado needs to win that first game. I think they do. Anyway, I did drop the StreamYard link. Anyone is welcome to join in at any point. I don't care. I love you guys. I love talking with you guys. What are some other teams we could talk about here? I kind of threw this one together last minute today. I didn't really prepare too much. And I figured I'd also just kind of make up for not making the wake up show this morning, but I needed some rest. We'll pick it up on Wednesday. Uh, Pac-12, Big 10, Big 10. Let's see. What other schedules could we look at? I've previewed a lot of teams so far. really have. I mentioned too the other day, Georgia Tech and Florida State open up in Ireland week 0. That's a tone setter for Georgia Tech. Yeah, North Dakota State's a proven program, but when you look at Colorado being in the Power 5, trying to match up with the other Big 12 teams, I think it's embarrassing only if you look at it from the right perspective. Because if you look at it as, well, Colorado's gonna be on a mission this year, and they wanna make a bowl, and they wanna do this and that, right? It might be embarrassing to the point of if you talk your head these next couple months leading up to it, and then you get blown out or lose, whether it's blown out fashion or not, then it might be embarrassing then. But I agree fully. I'm not downing North Dakota State by any means, Nick Saban Jr. I'm just gonna call him Saban Sports Talk. I'm gonna call you Sports Talk, man. Anyway, but he says, "I don't think it will be embarrassing because North Dakota State's a proven program." I agree. I think what North Dakota State has done in their history, uh, what they've accomplished, I think now they do have a new head coach in Tim Pala Pulisic. I don't I don't really know much of the history on him, but North Dakota State, I mean, Division One FCS. They're in the Missouri Valley Conference or whatever. They've been a part of the FCS since 20 years ago, actually. It took them 7 years to win a championship. They, at least in the FCS, they won a national championship in 1965 in their own, like, where they played and everything. But, like, here's the thing, North Dakota State's no sleeper. But if Georgia played North Dakota State, if Alabama played North Dakota State, they're good programs. But would they match up today with Alabama, with Georgia, with Clemson, with USC? Would they match up with these Power 5 juggernauts? I know I said USC. I mean, who am I kidding? But you get what I'm saying. Ohio State. Take Ohio State, Michigan last year, whatever. Would they outright win? I know they would win against North Dakota State. But would they outright win? It's a big question. What's Joey talking about here? Let's see. Just wait, those pack teams ain't going to know what hit them. Just like the group of 5 teams added last year. Yeah, I think I get what you're saying there. 'Cause you got 2 now, uh, Pac Pac-2. The Pac-12 is Washington State, Oregon State, and they still play some of their regular opponents, but, like, Oregon State, we looked at their schedule, they play Air Force, Boise State, San Jose State, California's now ACC, UNLV, Nevada, um, I mean, literally, like, their whole 2024 is non-con outside of Washington State. There is no Pac-12 title game. You treat it like they're independent now. So, anyway, let me drop the StreamYard link again just in case. Anyone's welcome to join and talk college football. But this is kinda open discussion today. I don't really have anything much to go off of. Uh, but I'm excited for this season. Texas and Oklahoma in the SEC, the Big 12's got now Utah and Colorado. They still have the group of 5 schools from last year that they added. Arizona, Arizona State in the Big 12 now too. They're leaving the pack. Uh, Arizona be good. They still got Noah Fafita at quarterback. Oh, you're talking about in the Big 12, says Joey. The 4 pack teams added won't know it. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. I fully agree. Colorado, not gonna know what hit them. Arizona, Arizona State. It's big boy football in the Big 12, I'll admit that. It might not be every school, but it's big boy football around there. Especially you talk Arizona, like, they return here's the thing, man. Um, Arizona has to, gotta move on from a 3-year coach at Jed Fish. Jed Fish now at Washington, now in the Big Ten. I think Washington be okay, I guess. Yeah. Um, Trojan Fight, what's going on? Good to see you. I think one of those former Pac teams wins the Big 12. Really? Who is it? I gotta hear this argument. I know it's not Colorado. Please don't say Colorado. You know who I would pick right now for the Big 12? That's you could make a case for Utah this year. Oklahoma State or Utah. Probably your 2 best. Kansas State's up there. I wanna see West Virginia be really, really good for my man Joey Foster, right? I wanna see West Virginia be good, and they're gonna be good. I don't know if they're good to where they'll win the conference. You talk about a tone setter for a game, they gotta play Penn State at home to open things up. Play that in Morgantown, Albany, at Pitt, Kansas. I don't know. Butterfly Dog 3016. How are you doing, Ballard? I'm doing great, Butterfly Dog. Thank you, man. That's a good dark horse, Saban Jr. Kansas, that's a good dark horse right there. They'll be preseason ranked. Let's look at their schedule. Let me click on that. Let's look at their schedule here. Lindenwood win at Illinois. Interesting game there. UNLV win. I think this one and this one. I don't know about Illinois. I like Kansas this year though. Well, they're good. Let me see something. I gotta look at what Kansas has coming back. I didn't prepare for Kansas today, but since we're talking about them, um, uh, let's see. CBS Sports. Look at this. Jalen Daniels is back. Yes. Cole Ballard, no relation to me, is a freshman quarterback. Will he back up Jalen Daniels? I don't know. Daniel Hishaw is a running back. He's back. You also got Savion Morrison, Devin Neal, wide receivers, Luke Grimm, Doug Emelin. Kansas is going to need their quarterback to last longer than a few games for sure. If Jalen Daniels gets hurt, if they I'm just gonna be honest, I forget the names of the receivers and everything. Those guys can work with Jalen Daniels. They can work with him. You give him time on the field, protect him in the pocket, his receivers make big plays. But Kansas is gonna be really, really good this year, I think. Now, are they 12-team playoff or anything like that? No. But you look at their schedule, Lindenwood, probably a win. Let's play this assuming Jalen Daniels is healthy all year. Lindenwood, win. Illinois could give you a game. I'll say win though. UNLV, win. West Virginia, uh, don't know. TCU, win. Arizona State, win. Houston, probably a win. Kansas State. How many wins have I got? I've lost track. I think I'm at 6 already. Kansas State. That's a tough game. I might take an L, it being on the road. Colorado, win. Baylor, BYU, Iowa State. Look at these games here. Iowa State's struggling a little bit. They'll probably not make a bowl game. Their running back is lit as well. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They went 9-4 overall last year. 5-4 in the Big 12. That's good. That's really, really good. Devin Neal, Daniel Henshaw at running backs last year. Watch out for Henshaw. Watch out for Henshaw and Neal, because here's what they'll do. Both of those guys played in 13 games last year. Devin Neal got more carries, like a lot more carries, and ran over 1,000 yards. But Kansas, what they like to do is a 1-2 punch combo with their running backs. That's what they like to do. So keep an eye on the running back game. Colorado, they win. BYU, Baylor. Baylor might be a little bit better this year. I don't know about Baylor late in the year. I have to see Baylor throughout the season before I make a prediction on what Kansas could do to them. Big 12 championship. I say this with all due respect, keep dreaming, but, you know, like I said, you know, Nick Saban Jr. says Kansas is a dark horse in the Big 12. Here's the thing about the Big 12. You get Texas and Oklahoma out of the way. And you could talk about them in the SEC all day long, but is it not outside of Oklahoma State and maybe Kansas State, outside of those 2 teams, is it not fair game for whoever wants to win the Big 12 this year? I think it is. Texas played in it last year, won it, made the playoffs, and they were it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close on how good they were compared to the rest of the Big 12. It wasn't close. What'd they go? 12-2 overall. They lost to Oklahoma once. They played Oklahoma State last year in the Big 12 title. Uh, the teams that gave them close games, TCU, Kansas State was overtime. Iowa State was a 10-point game. I consider that kinda close there, 2 possession, a field goal and a touchdown. Lost to Oklahoma by 4. They blew out Alabama by 10. Uh, there were some good games. Now they blew out Kansas, but Kansas fought last year to get better each week. Kansas fought to get better each week, at least from what I saw. Joey, what's up?
What's going on, man? So
How you
there's
doing?
an interesting stat that the group of five teams that came into the Big 12 last year, Cincinnati, BYU, Houston, and UCF. In
Mhm.
2022, they went 34 and 13 in the AAC, 34 and 13. They come over to the Big 12 last year. They go 16 and 30. Yeah, there's
Dang,
a that's just a huge step up. I mean, a lot of people. I don't think a lot of people realize how big of a step up that is. They don't have the
it
facilities.
is.
They don't have the facilities that these Power Five programs have. I mean, they can't recover their players as quickly as a Power Five program has because they don't have the recovery equipment, the right strength and conditioning stuff in place, and it makes a big difference. Now, the Pac-12 teams, they're going to be able to fit right in. They've got all that already. Problem is out of the four, the only one that I think has a legitimate shot of winning the Big 12 this year is Utah. I don't have much
Right.
faith. I don't have a lot of faith right now in Arizona, simply because of the change of leadership, right? And so I have a feeling that there's going to be a little setback for them. So, and Arizona State's a dumpster fire. In Colorado,
Yeah.
you can get a lot of great players out of the transfer portal, but you can't build a team out of the transfer portal. That's the biggest crock of bull I've ever seen in my life. He's got like 84 players
Let
out of the
me,
portal.
let me tweet that real quick. That was tweetable right there, what you just said. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of great
Yeah.
players out of the transfer portal, but you can't build a team because I don't care if you get a big time quarterback. I don't care if you got Quinn Ewers from Texas to transfer to Colorado, and then you took friggin' 5 or 6 wide receivers from Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan, Georgia. You got these great wide receivers, and then you get a couple of running backs from a couple of good programs that have great running backs. All right, so great. You've got a great bunch of great players that have never played together. The quarterback and the wide receivers are not going to be on timing. I mean, they're just not. It's not going. There's not going to be any team. So then you're going and taking all your offensive line. You're bringing a whole new offensive line in Colorado out of the transfer portal
Right.
that have never worked together. And they don't know what either is going to do. The center, they're calling plays. Left tackle has no idea what the hell the play is. They don't know what's going on. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a dumpster fire because it's not a
Nick
team.
Saban yeah, Nick Saban says, the chemistry will be off. I was literally just thinking of 2 key factors that Colorado's missing because they got great players now. I mean, like,
Right.
Shedeur is not a bad quarterback. They don't have, like, bad wide receivers and everything, but I will say this, chemistry within, like, the teammates on the field and the locker room and everything, and leadership. I think Dion lacks the right leadership, honestly, and I love Deion Sanders, like, he's a humble guy, he's down there, but his leadership on football, like, it's not terrible, but I don't think it's where it needs to be to build up a Power 5 program.
Pull up Colorado's schedule again. Let's go through that a second. I'm gonna go over this with you with the Big 12 eye for you.
Yeah,
Let's look at their schedule
okay.
here. All right,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
North
yeah, yeah.
Dakota State. Okay, I'll give them a win there. Nebraska.
Alright.
I think that's a toss up game. I like Matt Rule. I think Matt Rule's going to do a good job in Nebraska. So I'm going to give him a loss in Nebraska. Colorado State. Okay, let's give him a win at Colorado State. And then Baylor. Well,
Mhm.
Dave Aranda's on the hot seat. Can he coach himself off the hot seat this year? That's going to be the thing. So Baylor could be a tough game, but I'm going to give them a win at Baylor. All right, so that's 3
Okay.
wins, right? Then they go UCF at UCF. That's a loss. Then they
That's
play
Gus
Kansas.
Malzahn right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Then they play Kansas State. That's a loss. They're gonna lose to Kansas
Mhm.
State. I mean, Kansas State's going to be one of the better teams in the Big
So,
12 this year.
is that your only 2 losses so far? I'm keeping track.
No, I had them losing to Nebraska.
That's 3 losses. Keep
3
going.
losses. So then you got Arizona. I don't know. Can Arizona do something with a new coach? Can they come out? We are looking at what, game 6 by now, so there's a possibility that Arizona's got things figured out by then. And they got some great players that are a team that have been there for a while and they're working together. So I would probably give Arizona a win there over Colorado. So there's another loss.
Arizona win. There's 4. Okay.
Cincinnati. They're getting Cincinnati at home. Cincinnati's not going to be very good. I have no faith in Scott Satterfield there. So yeah, I'm gonna give them a win at Cincinnati. All right,
Mhm.
then you go to Texas Tech. They ain't got a chance
Loss.
against Texas Tech. They're not going. They're not going to go to Texas Tech and
You
win that
got
game.
one more chance.
Right,
Listen, you lose 2 more games, you're not going bowling. You
right,
got them at losses now.
right. Utah. That's a loss. There's no way they're beating Utah.
Oh,
Kansas Jayhawks.
oh,
That's a loss. That's a loss. They'll lose to Kansas by
oh,
40.
no. That's
Oklahoma
7.
State.
What are we doing?
Oklahoma State. That's a loss. That's a loss. So
4
there
and
you go.
8. 4 and
4 and
8 is
8.
what you got them.
If he's
4
lucky.
and 8.
That's a brutal
Yeah.
schedule at the end. Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, and Oklahoma State. That's a brutal schedule. Les
Trojan
Leipold
Fight says yeah, 6 wins tops. I
nah,
would say no more than 5, man. Maybe they could pull an upset, but gosh, I don't
yeah,
see them going bowling. I just don't,
no,
not with this schedule.
there's no way that 4 game stretch right there at the end is brutal, and there's
Mhm.
not too many teams that could win that 4 game stretch. To be honest with you, there's not too many teams that
I
could
don't
win that
even
4 game
think
stretch.
I don't think an Oregon or a Washington of last year could handle that 4 game stretch. Like I don't know if Georgia could handle. Look, that's really tough. I'm not saying, hey, you're gonna lose these games. You're a bad team. No, I Texas Tech is up and coming. Utah is Utah. Kansas has improved. Oklahoma State, I mean, you say what you want about Mike Gundy. He's a man. He's 40 or 50, however old he is now. But like, he's he's a good
Yeah,
coach, and Oklahoma
it's
State's a good program.
it's a very good program. Oklahoma State's a really good team, and under Lance Leipold, Kansas is on fire. Under Jordan McGuire, Texas
Yeah,
Tech has the best recruiting class in the Big 12 the last couple of years. So
right.
they're going to be coming on. Now they avoid a couple of really good teams in the Big 12. They avoid Iowa State. They avoid West Virginia. Now I know a lot of people out there are going to say Iowa State. Come on, Iowa State ain't going to be a good team. Iowa State has 6-year seniors from tackle to tackle, and a 6-year quarterback, 6-year running back. I mean, they are loaded. Iowa State is.
Right.
So they're going to be one of the better teams in the Big 12 this year. They're avoiding them. So yeah, and they're still only going to win 4 games at the most. If
I
they can
was
beat
talk
Nebraska,
crazy.
if let's just say that Nebraska has a bad game or whatever, or Matt Rule don't have them ready to go, they could beat
Mhm.
Nebraska. They get 5 wins. That's it. That's the only team on their schedule that I see another win. Is possibly Nebraska. I've got them beating Baylor already. So
Let's not forget too, you gave them a win with Colorado State, right? Did that game
yeah,
not go to double OT last year?
it did.
That could be a loss there. So, I mean, you're looking at a team that I think their floor might be 2 or 3 wins. I know that sounds crazy, but this is so unpredictable. All we know for sure is that Colorado's not gonna walk into the Big 12 like they got it all together and have it all together. They're gonna walk in there like they have it all together, and they're gonna fall apart.
Yep. There's just. I mean, I don't. I'm not buying into the hype of Colorado. I've seen Colorado picked to finish as high as fourth in the Big 12. There is no damn way they're going to finish fourth in the Big 12. There's not even a
Nope.
remote possibility. There are 7, possibly 8 teams in the Big 12 this year that could win the Big 12. None of them
Right.
include Colorado. None of them. So
I would take BYU before I took Colorado. I'd take Houston. I'd take any of the new teams from last year over
yeah,
Colorado.
yeah, but I also see a lot of people having UCF up there, in the top 5 of the Big 12. I don't believe that, but now I like Gus Malzahn. I think he's great. I think they got some good players. But I also know, like last year, West Virginia went down there to their little bounce house and drug them up and down the field, and
Yeah.
so I mean, I can't have a lot of faith in them right now. There's people
Mhm.
that got West Virginia finishing 7th and 8th in the conference, and you're talking about a team that won 9 games last year that returns 91% of their production, and they're saying they're gonna finish 7th or 8th, which is plumb nuts, if
Mm.
you ask me. I really believe now
Yeah.
West Virginia's got a very tough stretch of games, back at the beginning of the season. Really tough stretch of games there. But I just feel like, West Virginia's gonna be a better program than a lot of people think. I'm not trying to be a homer here. I'll call it like I see it. I think we will lose a couple of games, but I don't see us finishing 7th or 8th. I do see us finishing 3rd or 4th. We finished 4th in the Big 12 last year. I look for us to finish, 3rd or 4th again.
Mm. I might
Uh,
have to take a trip up to Morgantown in 2026 because look at that.
I know.
We go to Morgantown.
I'm
That'll be
I'm
fun.
I'm hoping that, that game doesn't get, canceled with all this conference realignment crap. That's
Oh,
my
yeah.
biggest fear.
So here's y'all's schedule, though. Open with
Yeah.
Penn State.
Alright, so that's
I'm
gonna
not
be a
gonna
telltale
guarantee.
sign. That's gonna be
Yeah.
a telltale game right there. If so, we can beat Penn State. We've got the talent and
Mhm.
everything. We don't have the depth that Penn State does, right? So, but
Right.
our starters are probably better than their starters. Our second string is probably as good, maybe a little bit less than their second string. But when you get down past that, Penn State's gonna dominate us. Now, can our starters stay healthy, play, and second string come in and back them up and play just as good as the starters? I think they can. I know the last year's game, Penn State was, uh, it it the score looked a lot worse than the game was. So, I
Right.
think that, Penn State is gonna go down this year in Morgantown. There's no doubt in my mind, but there is always can be a loss. So that's a toss-up game for me. I think it go either way,
I would
but I'm gonna take
say
West Virginia.
yeah, because when in doubt, number 1, I pick the home team when it comes to Power 5 on Power 5
Yeah,
or Power 4, whatever we're calling it now. But I would say this, man. You look at last year's game with Penn State and West Virginia, and they dominated you guys at Beaver
yeah.
Stadium. It's a whole whole 'nother level, though, on the other side of the coin
Well,
when
they
they
didn't
have to
dominate
go
us.
to you.
You go into
Well,
late
I
in the
mean,
3rd
it
quarter,
looks
and that the game was 14-13 late in the 3rd quarter. So, no, they didn't dominate West Virginia. It was just some errors,
okay.
like we had a bad penalty, we had a 20-yard gain off of a run that got us a first down and got us right down, down inside the 20, and it gets called back on the penalty, so you take the 20 yards back off, and you got a 10-yard penalty tacked on top of that. Now all of a sudden we're backed up 30 yards and we're back on the other side of the damn field, and we have to punt the ball. And we could have scored there and took a lead against Penn State. So
Okay.
there's little things like that hurt West Virginia last year because they were a young team. They were going to make mistakes. They were going to fumble. They were going to throw an interception. They were going to, have stupid penalties, and they did. They had quite a few of them in that game. But then the next week, Albany, easy game. The next week, Pitt Panthers. Pitt don't have anything right now. I'm gonna give West Virginia the win there. Then Kansas Jayhawks. Kansas is really a good team. So back a few years ago, 2 years ago, let's see, in 2021, Kansas came to. Hold on, just 1 second.
Yeah.
Kansas came into Morgantown back in 2021 or 2022, and they beat us. Nobody expected that. Absolutely no one in the country. I think we were 14-point favorites. Hold on one second again. Uh, just a second, Ballard. I got somebody at the door. Give me just a second.
Okay. Meanwhile, I would assess the schedule kind of tough. Um,
Okay, sorry about
I
that.
do think that,
So
yeah,
they came into Morgantown in 2022, and they got one on us. Lance Leipold's first year, and all of a sudden, Kansas was something to beat. They won their next game after that, and their following game after that against Big 12 opponents that they hadn't beaten in years. So Kansas coming out party was against West Virginia 2 years ago. I think it's payback revenge this year. I see West Virginia winning that game. Following week,
okay.
though, going to Oklahoma State, nobody goes to Stillwater and walks out there with a easy victory. That's for sure. So I think Oklahoma
At
State will
least
beat
you
West
get
Virginia.
at least you get a bye week though to prepare, so maybe you could
Right,
at least put some competition on the field.
right. I think that the Oklahoma State will win that game. The next week, Iowa State.
Mhm.
You've heard me talk about Iowa State. Iowa State's a pretty damn good team this year. I mean, they've got a lot of seniors that are just been there for years. They're 6, 7 years. I mean, I would say it's going to be a powerhouse in the Big 12 this year that a lot of people are looking at. Now they're coming to Morgantown. That's the only reason I would give West Virginia an edge there, and it wouldn't be much of an edge, 2 or 3 points maybe.
Mhm.
Next week, Kansas State. Um, they're coming to Morgantown again. I, I'm I'm going to give West Virginia the win there, and here's why. Kansas State comes to Morgantown anytime they're ranked and come to Morgantown, they generally lose. They don't leave with a
Yeah.
win. So I'm going to give Kansas State, I'll give West Virginia the win there. So I've got West Virginia losing to Oklahoma State. Could lose to Iowa State. I think we beat Kansas State. Arizona. Going out to Arizona, well, what do they have? I mean, like I say, new coach coming in. Can West Virginia go to the desert and win? Well, West Virginia plays very well in Arizona. I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but we've lost one game in Arizona, I believe, in our history, as far as
Really?
I can remember, and that was the 1988 Fiesta Bowl for the national championship. I think it's the only game
Mm.
we've lost in Arizona. Then you got four teams there that you should be able to beat. You wouldn't have no problem with Cincinnati, Baylor, and I think we'll beat UCF. We get them in Morgantown. Then we got to go to Texas Tech. Like I say, Texas Tech's got a really good team. I could see us losing at Texas Tech. Texas Tech's a tough place to play for West Virginia. It's a long trip. Leaving Morgantown, you fly out of Pittsburgh, right? So you get a bus ride from Morgantown to Pittsburgh. Then you get on a plane, you fly God knows how many hours and stuff to down to Texas. And then you got to get on another bus and bus down into Lubbock. And I mean, because Lubbock ain't got a friggin' airport to go land these planes at with these players on it. You bust them in there.
Mhm.
It's a tough road trip for West Virginia, and we don't do real well. So I'm going to give Texas Tech a win there. So I could see West Virginia uh, with a 9-3, 10-2 record. I really could this year. Now, is that going to be good enough to play for the Big 12 championship? I think it's a possibility because Utah has the easiest schedule in the Big 12. Without a doubt, Utah's got the easiest schedule. I think that's why they're picked to win it. I believe that's why they probably could win the Big 12. Is their schedule is extremely easy. So,
And don't
uh,
forget, Joey, don't forget the 12-team playoff taking the Power 4 champions. If West Virginia runs the table and plays their cards right, dude, you're in.
right, right. I could see,
And
honestly,
I
I could
don't know
see
who you play in that first round, but, like, you make it, that's huge.
for sure
That's
just being in
huge.
the playoffs, being in the playoffs means something. So I could see West Virginia in the playoffs this year, but honestly, I don't expect that. Now, do I think we could play in the Big 12 championship game? I really do, but I think we will have a loss or two and possibly lose the Big 12 championship game. And then, that I think that would keep us out just simply because of the losses we'd have. We'd make a New Year's Six bowl, but That's about it. Well, I don't guess there will be
Yeah.
New Year's Six bowls now, will there? So, um, but I could see West Virginia finishing 10-2 on our schedule. I could see us
I
finishing
think y'all
11 and
are
1.
at I would go 10-2 at most with a floor of 8-4 if you mess up some games, but I don't know what games that you shouldn't lose are the ones that could get away. Maybe Pitt, maybe I think did you have you said you'll take, Penn State to lose week 1?
Yeah, I'm gonna take us beating Penn State. I just think there's gonna be so much hype around the game, and it's in
Yeah.
Morgantown. We got such a
Well,
great
that's a
team.
game see, and that's a game where I would kinda disagree at the moment. I would take Penn State, but in a really close game in
Yeah,
Morgantown, but it still wouldn't surprise me if you come out on top in that game, and then you look later down the schedule, like, I look at Arizona, I look at Texas Tech late in the year, I just I you know, if I had to pick right on the money, if I'm betting a record for you guys, you say 10-2, Imma go 1 underneath you, and I don't know where I would disagree. I would go 9-3 right now. I think 3
honestly.
losses somewhere, but
Well, the one thing that gets me is you got to remember West Virginia was a 9-win team last year. Now they were an
mhm,
8-win team before the bowl game, and then we beat North Carolina in the bowl game. So we
right,
were 9-4, um, 8-4, but in regular season. But we return so on the offense, we're returning 91% of our production on offense. The only one we lost is Zach Frazier, who was our center, to the Pittsburgh Steelers in round 2 of the NFL draft,
yes,
and we lost Beanie Bishop to the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Other than that, we did lose another lineman, but the backup to Zach Frazier at center, he's played a lot of snaps. He's not
okay,
he's not as physical as Zach Frazier was, but he is as good. He gets really good leverage, and he's a good center. So I don't worry about us dropping off at center, that much. So, and we do have Wyatt Milam out on the left tackle. And last year, well, Wyatt Milam was a highly recruited player. He was a 4-star when he came in, a high 4-star. He he is last year he gave up no sacks whatsoever. He didn't allow a single sack at the left tackle position, and he also only gave up I think it was 6 hurries. There was 6 hurry passes off the edge up there all year. So he's returning. I don't see anybody getting by him, honestly. So I think that's a that offensive line's pretty much solidified for this year. I think it's going to be a pretty good
yeah,
line again. And last year, a lot of people don't realize this. We were a top 5 team in offensive line. We were a top 5 team in offense. We were a top 5 team running the ball. So I don't see where people are saying West Virginia is going to finish down there 7th or 8th in this conference. Like last year when they picked us 14th out of 14 teams. I was sitting there going, what the hell game y'all been watching? I was just wondering who the hell they've been watching. And as it turned out, we finished 4th. I think the same way this year. I'm wondering who the hell has been watching these games because they're not seeing what I'm seeing. Now, that same thing goes for Iowa State because I don't think people have been watching Iowa State. I mean, think about it. Not too many people do. But that team's going to be a pretty good team this year. So, anyway, just thought
yeah.
I'd come in and talk for a minute. I see
Nah,
Trojan Fight
man, I
asking me a
think you
question.
always Yeah, go ahead.
Trojan Fight asked me a question. What would I rate West Virginia's success on a scale of 1 to 10 since joining the Big 12? Um, I would give us probably a 6 or 7. 2012 when we came in, we should have done a lot better. I think what hurt us, Dana Holgerson. Dana Holgerson's a horrible coach, absolutely horrible head coach. Great offensive coordinator, best offensive coordinator in the country, probably. You put him and Lincoln Riley together, and my goodness gracious, you'd have one hell of an offense that nobody could stop. But
Right.
that the thing about it is he couldn't coach a team, so we had no defense, we had no special teams, we had other thing we had was offense. And so that went on for 7 years under Dana Holgerson. Finally, his contract was up and they wasn't going to renew it, and he took off and bolted for Houston. That lasted a few years, and he's gone there now. Smart. They got smart early. We should have fired Dana Holgerson back in 2014. To be honest with you, we should have fired him back in 2014, but they didn't. They stuck with him. We had a 10-win season in 2016. We had a 9-win season, I think it was 2017. We've had some good years, but if we hadn't had Dana Holgerson, we would have been a lot better in the Big 12, especially in 2012. We should have won the Big 12 in 2012. So
Yeah.
I got tired of watching. It just seemed like every year we play Oklahoma, the final score was 58-56, 51-49, 54-52. It was just crazy. I got so
Yeah.
tired of not playing defense, and that's not West Virginia's style. Wasn't their style when they came into the Big 12. It's not their style today. Thank
Well,
goodness. Because
don't beat yourself up too much because that's never been the Big 12 style either.
well, that's just it. That's the only reason we had any success in the Big 12 because we had no defense and nobody else did either. Everybody was just
Mhm.
offense, and that's been the problem. But now under Neil Brown, he's been building the defense and building an offense too, so that he's got a happy medium there. We got a good defense that can stop you. Sure, you're going to score against them, but hell, you can score against Alabama's defense. You can score against Georgia's defense. So yeah, there's going to be people that score, but we can stop you when we need to, and go down and drive the ball. I think our running game is going to be amazing this year because we've got C.J. Donaldson and Jaheim White in the backfield. They split duties last year, and the thing about it is, Jaheim White averaged like almost 9 yards a carry. And people say,
Mhm.
"Well, how many carries did he have?" Well, about 200. So, and the same way with C.J. Donaldson, he averaged 7 yards a carry, about 200 carries. So, yeah, we've got some serious running backs in the backfield. We have Garrett Green at quarterback, who's a scrambling quarterback, and so he's going to pick up a lot of yards on the ground. So, just when you have
Yeah.
to key in on C.J. Donaldson, boom, they hand it to Jaheim White. You key in on Jaheim White and C.J. Donaldson, Garrett Green takes off on you, or he throws a
And
pass down the field.
those guys too got a lot of playing time last year. I mean, they were the go-to guys playing in like 12 or 13 games, I think, right?
Yeah,
Each of them
right,
that
right.
you just
And,
mentioned.
and the thing about it is our backup quarterback has already been there for 3 years, and he hasn't gone
Mhm.
anywhere. And he should have been a 5-star recruit. They were out of the 5 stars. They only give so many of those out a year. But Nico Marcio ended up a really high 4-star. He was recruited by Florida State, Alabama, Georgia, and West Virginia, quite a few others. He chose West Virginia. He's came to West Virginia. He stood by West Virginia. He does a lot of things in the state. He loves the state. So he's not going anywhere. And he last year, Garrett Green got hurt in the pit game, early in the pit game, like first quarter. So he had to come in and take us to victory over Pitt. The following week, he took us to victory over TCU. And the next week, he started the game. And then Garrett Green was able to come in and play, but we ended up beating Texas Tech. So I do not, I, I don't even worry if Garrett Green would happen to get hurt and go down. I don't think it hurts our odds one bit. I know we're okay on quarterback. I know we're okay at running back. We're okay at wide receivers, and our offensive line is phenomenal. We're fine there. I worry about our defense. I worry about our secondary. Now, we pulled in a lot of great transfers out of Northwestern and Ohio State and things like that. We've got a lot of great transfers coming in for our secondary. How much help they'll be, I don't know. That's where I worry about West Virginia. It's just our secondary. I don't worry about our defensive line. Our defensive line is going to be stout. But that secondary was questionable last year, and I, it's a question mark going into this year.
And you guys have I don't think it's always been that way though, because if I remember correctly, when I watched the draft every year, it seemed like on day 2 and day 3, you would hear guys left and right getting called from the secondary from West Virginia, defensive
Yeah, I
back out of
mean,
West Virginia or whoever, and,
even round one, a lot of
yeah,
times, you think about Pac-Man Jones and stuff. I mean, we've had a lot of great defensive players come through the program, But our secondary, after Holgerson left in 2019, and this is what I'm going to go on a little rant here for a second. I'm going to take up for Neil Brown for just a second, guys. We have to
Mhm.
remember he came in to West Virginia from Troy, right? So it was a group of five school. It's also a southern school down south. He didn't recruit up around West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and all those areas for Troy, right? So he didn't know any of these recruits up here. Didn't know any of the players up here. So we bring him in 2019, and he's got to go with Dana Holgerson recruits for 2019, right? Which Dana was a terrible recruiter, guys. We finished in the 60s every single year, 50s and 60s in recruiting. It was
Yeah.
horrible. So he would get his players out of the transfer portal to fill key spots, and that's why we were able to build a team and be pretty decent. But Neil Brown's tries to do it different. He wants to bring in high school players, develop them, and have a good program every year. So 2019, he comes in, he has to get Dana Holgerson recruits. 2020, what happens? Hey, we get a pandemic that all of a sudden now here's a coach that just his first year of actually being able to recruit, he can't go visit the kids. He can't go sit down in their homes. He can't get to meet them. They don't get to shake his hand. They don't know who he is. All right, so he can't recruit in 2020 either. Finally, 2021, he starts recruiting, pulls in pretty decent class. 2022 pulls in a class that's top 35. This year, I think we're 21st right now in the nation. You'd have to look it up, Christian. I looked at it day before
19.
yesterday, 19. So,
19 in 2025 right now, according to
yeah,
247.
so that's just the difference. So he can recruit. That Neil Brown can recruit and get good players. So I'm really excited right now because he's working with a lot of mostly his recruits, right? Mostly his recruits are out there right now, and so
Yeah.
I I think that Neil Brown's a lot better coach than people are giving him credit for. Said that last year when everybody was talking about we should have fired him. I didn't agree with that. I thought no, he doesn't need to be fired. He had a rough time. I mean, he had a really rough time. He had 2 years at the program where he wasn't able to recruit a single player. Nothing to his standards and philosophies and what he wanted to do on the field. So he's only been recruiting since 2021, and here we are coming up on 2024. So them players are finally developed. You better watch out for West Virginia. Um,
Yeah.
that's what I
And
think.
going forward too, because I noticed like it is a bunch of 3 stars for 2025 right now, but to have a top 20 class still is really, really good, and you're even recruiting outside of the state. I mean, you're going to
Right.
Connecticut, you got a guy from Tennessee, you got guys from Ohio, and,
And Florida,
people wanna
we've
point
got
and
that
laugh.
pipeline.
Yeah,
So everybody remembers how good West Virginia was back in the early 2000s, right? 2004,
yeah,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We were really, really good. We recruited the state of Florida, and we recruited the state of Florida as good as Florida State, and Florida, and Miami were. I mean, we literally did because that goes back to Don Nehlen days when Doc Holliday came on as an assistant at West Virginia University. He had a pipeline to Florida. He knew all the coaches, and he had a pipeline down there to Florida. So he was pulling all these players in. So when Rich Rodriguez took over after Don Nehlen retired, he kept that pipeline going. He had that pipeline down there to Florida, kept going. When Dana Holgerson come in, that pipeline shut off. It was done. We didn't recruit Florida anymore, So now Neil Brown has established that again. So we're back down there in Florida. So
yeah,
yeah, we've
that's
got some
good
great players.
because you got guys, I mean, I'm looking at it. You got a guy from even Connecticut, and he's a 3-star, but he's a receiver, Tariq Mallory. And then you got guys like you got a quarterback out of Ohio. That's a pretty good state to get some offensive recruits from, is Ohio. I have noticed. I know that the 3 main states for the big time recruits are going to be what? What would you say? Georgia, Florida, and California, right? At least when you look at the big time high schools, especially
Um,
or Texas,
I would say
Texas.
Texas. I throw Texas in there. Yeah.
Yeah. But look, football is not dying by no means. You are seeing kids want to play that game every single day, and they're starting at a younger age every single generation, every single year. You see it all over the place. You got Pee Wee leagues, and they work their way up. Well, you got a lot of good players in the states of West Virginia and Virginia, and you're even getting guys out of like Maryland,
Yeah.
um,
And that
Connecticut.
goes back to Don
Uh,
Nehlen as well. When Don Nehlen got to Morgantown, the first thing he did was drew
yeah,
a circle, a 300-mile radius circle around Morgantown, and said, "We can find all the guys we need in this 300-mile radius to compete." And he was right. He started pulling them players in. Now, mind you, we started getting some players out of Florida too when Doc Holliday came on and opened up that pipeline. So he's able to start recruiting some speed out of Florida. Because let's face it, the guys in Ohio and Maryland and Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, those are big guys. Those are the guys you want on your offensive line, defensive line. You get a few good receivers out of there every once in a while, but none of them have blazing speeds except for maybe Randy Moss. He has some amazing speed. But
right.
you get some good players out of that 300-mile radius circle around Morgantown, and there's plenty of players that are overlooked every single year. Every single year, there's players that are overlooked, and so I think that Neil Brown's building something really good. I know the culture at West Virginia is completely different than when Dana Holgorsen was there. I'm really happy about that. He's doing a really good job. Now, how good of a coach is he against some of these coaches in the Big 12? Because the Big 12's got some really good coaches. You look at Mike Gundy and Lance Leipold, Matt Campbell, who, anybody that can take Iowa State and go winning games like he does at Iowa State, it's got to be a pretty damn good coach. So Matt Campbell, a good coach. Joey McGuire down there in Texas Tech, he's a great recruiter, yet to be proven to be a good coach yet, but great recruiter. So if he can get his coaching down, and I think what he's trying to do maybe is what some coaches do is micromanage instead of trusting their offensive and defensive coordinators. They micromanage, and I think it may be something Joey McGuire's doing. So he gets out of that micromanaging and starts trusting his coordinators. Hey, you better watch out for Texas Tech.
For sure. And I'm looking right now too. You look at this upcoming year for 2025 recruiting. You guys are only behind TCU in the Big 12, which is amazing. I mean, you're and you it I know that it might look a little different if, say, Oklahoma and Texas were still in there, but they're not in there. West Virginia's in there. TCU's in there. Oklahoma State's in there. You're
Right,
even ahead of Oklahoma State. I mean, that
right.
it's crazy, man. The new
And the thing
teams,
about it is
Brigham
those 3
Young and
stars,
yeah.
if you look at their ratings, so 5.8 rating on, like
Mhm.
Rivals, a 5.8 rating is a 4-star. And if you look at
Wow.
our 3 stars, they're like 5.7 ratings. So it's not like these are like guys that are really low 3-star players. These are really high 3-star players. And we do have, 3, I think we got 3 4-stars right now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, I just wanted to come in for a minute, so I thought I'd pop in.
Awesome, Joey. Thank you, man. You always offer us great insight, and I appreciate what you do to help our channels out and everything. I'm gonna have to clip this conversation too. That was really good.
Well, have fun, brother, and, hey, I wish everybody's teams a lot of luck this year. So,
Yeah.
all right. We'll see you guys later.
All right. See you, Joey. Joey Foster, everybody, talking West Virginia football. Anyone's welcome to join too. I could drop that link one more time. Uh, I guess I forgot to drop it on Facebook, but we'll drop it. That was great, man. West Virginia is on the rise. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take to be a national contender, but Big 12 contender, watch out. That's what I'll say. West Virginia, they're doing great. It's doing really great, man. Recruiting, winning big time games. They have got, man, they got to put it together. I'll tell you what, I said it earlier. That Penn State game to open things up this year for West Virginia is going to be key. If they can pull an upset or even play it close or closer than it was, if they can win that game or play it really close in Morgantown, It's a noon game, August 31st. They pull that off. I think that the sky's the limit for what they could do this year. I say the sky. They're not winning a national title, not yet, at least. But you better watch out for these boys in blue, gold and blue. Rest in peace, our friend Gold and Blue, dude. We miss you, brother. Their homecoming game's Kansas State, by the way. What else we got today? I've run through everything on my end. Drop that link. Get you guys on. We'll give it a few more minutes. Sorry for the dead air there. I'm checking stuff out. I got YouTube open and I'm just kind of seeing what we got recommended videos. It's like recommending old college football games and highlights. So um I'll have to watch this later. This is cool. The mock draft guy ranking college football team logos 2024 season. Yeah, I'll watch that later. Anyway, appreciate you guys tuning in today. 2 o'clock. Paul Feinbaum's on. I know a lot of people don't really care for that, but I do. I do. He inspired me to get on here. He inspired me to chase this dream. Big things are coming to the channel, I promise you. We'll keep it going here at Ballard Sports Media. I think I'm kinda done with team preview. I think I'll need some help with team previews going forward. If you want to preview a team, let me know. I think doing it on my own, like, it just takes the fun out of it because I love getting people like Joey looked at 2024 West Virginia today. We talked about it. It's just good collaboration, I think. So, anyway, we're gonna get out of here. I love you guys. Jesus loves you. God bless. Keep your head up. We will see you for let me see. Double check my schedule. What do we got? The Wake Up Show, 5 a.m. Central, 6 a.m. Eastern. We run till 8 on Wednesday morning. I have to figure some stuff out, get it scheduled up and everything like that. But we'll get it taken care of. We'll see you Wednesday morning here at Ballard Sports Media on June 26th. Then we'll be on Friday morning. And then after that, I'm going to take next week as I'm going to the beach to visit family. I'm going to take the week of the 4th off. So we're going to try to get some stuff this week, go to the beach on Saturday, and then we will pick things back up, I guess, July 8th. I'll be back on the 6th. So we'll probably pick it back up with the Wake Up Show on the 8th. And we'll see what happens. I love you guys. Have a great day. God bless. And we'll see you next time. Ballard Sports Media checking out. Love y'all.